What is up, y'all? Welcome back. I want to check out this Palmetto State Armory upper and lower combination with a UTG carry handle on it, and I'm going to bring you guys along for it. It's a budget build, if you want to call it that. It's not really a build because, like I said, it's just an upper and a lower smacked together, but it's definitely a budget option. I'm kind of getting into that budget option thing lately because I have a pretty tight budget this year. A lot's going on with work, and I can't spend a whole bunch of money on a lot of cool Gucci fancy stuff. So I'm on the Palmetto State Armory route. Pretty good right now. I've been on that kick for going for cheap things, police trade-ins, things like that. So I thought this would be a cool one to check out. The biggest thing I want to check out is reliability. Is this thing functional? Palmetto State Armory has a weird reputation. A lot of people love them and some people really hate them. I'm indifferent about them at the moment. They haven't done anything wrong to me lately. So I want to check this out. We're going to put a bunch of rounds through it. We're going to check accuracy. We're just going to have some fun with it. I have some plans for this gun for the future, but I need to get the reliability part out of the way first. So like I said, I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride. We're just going to see how it functions, how it handles. It's a pretty cool setup. It's just the classic upper. I'll have it up in the corner of the screen exactly what it is, but I like these old school hand guards on here. The rails get pretty hot if you shoot them at high volume, so these are a little bit better option for keeping things cool on your hands sometimes, except for up here, that can get real hot. But I do like these old school front posts that are attached to the gas block. I put the carry handle on there because I like the old school sights. Iron sights are really cool. I can still put an optic on here if I want to. I can take the handle off and put an optic on, or put one through the optic or the carry handle. But I just like old school stuff, like this old school A2 buttstock. Just a simple sling. We're running YouTube compliant magazines. You see how small they are. I like that classic kind of stuff. There's nothing special about this rifle. We have the A2 birdcage flash hider on it, and I think we're just going to keep it pretty much just like this is. I'm going to go ahead and get one of those holders that hold one extra magazine. It's on the way, just couldn't get here in time. I have some actually green magazines, also YouTube compliant. So those are the Duramag magazines, as you can see there, but they're not exactly the perfect color. I don't know if I'll use them or not. They're a little bit of a metallic green. That might look pretty cool in there, though. You be the judge. You tell me what you think about those magazines. We'll definitely chuck them for functionality, but not in this video. I'll let you get a closer look here. Our camera guy will pan across. The lower and the upper don't exactly match perfectly with color, but it's close enough. You can see she's real oily. We did clean her up. We have a few rounds through her already. I tried to get the matchingest sling I could. That's a Magpul MS1 sling. The carry handle rear sight is a Leapers UTG. That's a middle ground. It's not cheap, but it's not super expensive. And that's why I went with this specific upper receiver with a rail, so I could take this on or off. I wasn't going to be stuck with the carry handle. We did do a little bit of shooting. Like I said already, we were zeroing in. We had a pretty good easy zero, actually. This thing was set up pretty well, as you can see, as we're showing you right now in these pictures. So we just made a few minor adjustments. We got her exactly where we want her for now. We're on a 25-yard zero. Hopefully that would translate out to something like 25 yards to 300 yards. Zero, but we have a 16-inch barrel, so that's not going to be entirely true. We zeroed with 55 grain ball ammunition. We're going to be trying a plethora of different ammunition, grain weights, and velocities today. So there you go. There's not much else to it. We're going to go ahead and get this thing on paper now with some of that ammunition as soon as this rain stops that just unexpectedly started out of nowhere. All right, I'm going to run through these really quick. We're going to show you the ammunition. We're going to take the shots, show you the target, and move on to the next one. The first one is PMC Bronze, 55 grain, full metal jacket boat tail. Now that's 2,900 feet per second, but who knows what barrel length. We have a 16-inch barrel length today. I've set up a pretty good challenge for myself for iron sights. We're at 25 yards. I'm going to go for each one of these pasters with each individual ammunition, and hopefully we get a group that's not too wild so we can differentiate. All right, and we're definitely going for the reliability part, so as long as these things lock back, we're good to go. So aiming here, ended up here, not too bad of a group. I think that is a hole in hole. One of those is a hole in hole. It's either that one or that one. Pretty sure it's that one. Next up is X-Tac from PMC, 55 grain, still a full metal jacket boat tail, going a little bit faster at 3120 feet per second because this is the 5.56, not the 2.23 that we just shot. You'll see those cases are annealed. That'll be the biggest indicator it is a 5.56. So let's send 5 of these downrange. All right, I felt real good about all those trigger pulls. We actually did not lock back on that one. There's nothing in there, so We're cycling, that's good, but for some reason we didn't lock back. That is a good magazine, but something stopped it from locking. Let's go take a look at the target. I do like the accuracy though. So that point of aim, point of impact came back down. So that's more of where I'm aiming at. And that's a nice group with a hole in hole right there for that 5-shot group. Let's move on to the next one. All right, next up is still X-Tac from PMC, but we're going to the 62 grain. We're going to the scary, scary mean green tip. Let's see how this functions. Just a little bit more grain weight there instead of the 55 grain. That one locked back, as with the 55 grain did not. Let's go take a look. Pretty nice group right there. We didn't get as centered as I would like to, but that's pretty darn nice. We got 1, 2, 3 right in there, and then a couple that are a little bit wider, but definitely, you know, within that circle area if it were to be adjusted. All right, PMC's out of the way. We're going to move on to the next 3, but we're going to let the barrel cool just a little bit. I know there was only 15 shots. We've spaced them out, but we want to make everything a fair deal for all these ammos. And she is literally cool to the touch now, right there. All right, we're going to move on to what I would say is kind of a generic almost ammunition. I find it at a lot of the stores lately, ever since we had that coughing situation going on. This is some 223 55 grain full metal jacket from Scorpio, and it's made in the Czech Republic. It has no listed velocity on the box at all. All right, we locked open. Let's take a look. Well, so far that's been our best point of aim, point of impact, and that is a pretty good group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like the Chechnyan Republicans know how to make some ammo. All right, back to the United States with some American Eagle military grade 5.56. That is 55 grains going at 31.65 according to their box. Lock back, let's take a look. Just when I talk good about these guys, the Americans came through and whooped them. That's a really nice point of aim, point of impact hit right there with 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, which are definitely blamed on me. In my opinion, that's really good stuff right there. Now here we have some more American-made stuff. We have some Frontier cartridge made with Hornady bullets, it says. That's their M193 loading. It says 3240 feet per second out of the muzzle, and it's a pretty good-looking round. It's annealed, but it's pretty clean-looking stuff. It's actually the most expensive, probably one of the most expensive, except for some solid coppers we have here. For some reason, this stuff is super expensive, about double the price of that American Eagle. All right, we got a lock open. If there's any group I might have personally struggled with a little bit, it was just that one for some reason, but let's go take a look. Even though I felt like I was struggling, we kept them all within the paster right there. So you pay a little bit more for that ammunition. It seems to be pretty good because I did have at least a little bit movement on at least one of those shots. But so far, it's been the only one we've actually been able to keep all the way in the orange. We'll measure group size here in a minute. This still might be a tighter group over here, but not too bad at all. And we're going to give the barrel some time to cool down before we move on to Palmetto State Armory's own in-house ammunition for the last 2. What are you looking at, fool? All right, hopefully this next one's going to be pretty cool. This is AAC's version of a Barnes loading, a 70 grain TSX. That should be a solid copper hollow point right there. Hopefully that's pretty accurate. We have a velocity on the box of 2850. I have high hopes for this one. It's not a cheap one either. All right, it locked it open. I think I see one low one out there, but let's go take a look. All right, not a terrible grouping for iron sights right there, especially with the sun blaring on this target. But we did change point of impact a little bit. That could just be me setting up behind the rifle again, or it could be the change in grain weight or something else. But again, not too bad of a group. It would have fit inside that paster if we had to re-zero. Let's move on to the next one. I think I'm going to go ahead and aim right down here for that open tip match we're getting to. All right, so this is going to be a lead cup and core version of an open tip. That's a boat tail hollow point match bullet, 75 grains, loaded again by AAC. This one's velocity is on the box saying 2,700 feet per second. So this stuff should be made for accuracy. The 75 grain stuff is known to be the stuff you want to put on target, but let's see how it does through this rifle today. All right, lock back. I felt pretty good about all those trigger pulls, but let's go look. All right, well, we mixed up our groups a little bit, but I did get 1, 2, 3 in the orange, and then I think it's there and there for the 4th and 5th, not necessarily in that order. So nothing incredible out of that ammunition, but it did go ahead and shoot for us. I'd say it's probably one of the worst groupers, though. Again, 75 grains, though. These things that these Palmetto State Armories with these type of twist rates and barrel lengths and this and that, I'm pretty sure that they're going to do just fine with the lighter grain stuff. They're not really made to be shooting matches and stuff, so pretty much wasting our time and money with this type of stuff, but still wanted to put it on paper. All right, so we had our initial thoughts when we took a look, but then when we measure things, things actually come to total reality. The PMC bronze was 1.22 inches. We had the PMC X-Tac, though, the 55 grain, go 0.88 inches. That's really good. 1.30 out of the 62 grain green tip. The Scorpio, the foreign stuff, of course, that was actually, I called it a good group, but in reality, it was more than 1.5 inches. And that's at 25 yards. Keep that in mind. But still, the Federal, the 55 grain full metal jacket was almost at an inch. That was 1.05. That was pretty good. But down here, we had that Barnes 70 grain TSX round that did hit 1 inch. So I didn't think that was that great of a group, but turns out it really was. And we have 1.15 inches there with the Frontier. Not too bad. The boat tail hollow point match didn't turn out to be anything super special, at least not with my shooting today at 1.1 or 1.38 inches. All right, with pretty good accuracy testing, in my opinion, out of the way, let's have some fun down there on some steel. We're probably at about 60 yards away. We have some 55 grain and some green tips loaded up, and I just want to see if my 0 translates at all to those 12-inch plates. Maybe, maybe not. Yep, it's hitting it. Yep. Didn't get a lock back on that one. So no lock back, but we got through them. You caught me with a little bit of a flinch. I was shooting at 2 different plates, and I think I hit it with most of them. So not too bad. I only have it zeroed at the 25, but I don't know what's up with that lockback thing. We'll have to figure that out with some different magazines, I think. All right, there you go. For about 400 banana leaves, I think she's doing pretty good. We'll figure out what the lockback thing is, but I don't think that's anything too big. She's shooting very accurately. She's actually a very soft shooter, has a mil-spec trigger in it, nothing special, but just overall a good package for that amount of money, in my opinion. I'll report if anything goes wrong. I'm allowed to report that. This is no BS content here in the Turkey's Opinion. We're not paid for our opinions, and we totally paid for everything you saw today. Ammo, gun, everything you can imagine has been bought and paid for by us. So we can give you the honesty. And truthfully, honestly, this is a pretty darn good one from Palmetto State, in my opinion. Use this information as you see fit. Thank you for watching this video and hope to see you at the next one. Until then, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.